We're a little late, but I'm going to do it anyway. Okay, so then we're going to break down. If you are number one in your business and your personal business is number one, how does that break down? Well, you've got to have parties. Our national sales director, Michelle, always says, if you have no parties, you have no business. If you have parties, you have a business. Think about it. That'd be like hiring a bunch of people for a restaurant without a building and tables and food. You can have employees without having a business, can't you? But if you have everything else, you have a business to bring people into. Your parties are your brick and mortar. They are the place that you go to do business. So no parties, no business. Parties, business. Really simple. If you get nothing else out of tonight, write down parties equal business, no parties equals no business. Really simple. So you've got to have parties. The second thing is you've got to have successful parties. You have to partner with your host. Roxanne, can I share, and if you can say no, can I share what you shared with me last night about your two parties and the difference?
Sure.
Last night, Roxanne was on our hostess coach, and correct me, I'm going to paraphrase, but I think I'll get it fairly right, was that, she learned that she had two parties. One was really, really successful. One wasn't quite as successful. Why? That one did not have the number of guests. They didn't invite from all walks of life. I don't know if Janet's gotten on yet or not, but Janet kind of shared the same story. One, I really spent time hostess coaching and using the tic-tac-toe. One, I didn't. And what a difference it made in both situations. So your host coaching is the next priority. You got to have the parties. Then you've got to set yourself up for success. Because without those parties, believe it or not, host coaching is probably, even when we say I don't want to say it's more important than recruiting, but if you don't have people at a party, it's hard to meet people to recruit, right? So host coaching drives that behavior. Really interesting, is it? We think of it as like a 10-minute thing and think that 10 to 20 minutes, it can really change the trajectory of your business overall in a crazy way. Next thing is identifying and following up recruit leads. So you have a business. You plan for success. The next thing is at your business, your number one priority is recruiting. People think they go to parties to sell. You can sell anywhere. You go to parties to recruit, then book, and then selling happens while you're there, doesn't it? Now, by all means, you can increase that average order. You can increase the experience, that type of thing. But the reason you can sell $1,000 at your party tonight, but if you don't book a recruit and you don't have any parties on your book, what does no parties equal? No business, right? But if you go to a party and you have $300 in sales and you book 3 parties and you recruit someone, what does that equal? Lots of business. At those 3 parties, you might get 3 more recruits and 7 more bookings, and between just those 3 parties, you might get $1,500 or $2,000 in sales. So believe it or not, I do want you to have great party sales, because there's nothing more fun and exhilarating than going, oh, I just had my first $1,000 party. Hey, $500 parties, whatever. It's exhilarating. But one party is not business. Future parties and recruits keep you in business. So keep that in mind. That's just like having a grand opening of a restaurant and selling, having 1,000 people walk in your door and all buy, but nobody ever comes back the next day. All right, so big deal. So what? You had a great opening day, right? How many of you would have experienced what I experienced? Well, I didn't even experience it because I didn't even have a launch because I didn't know enough people. Anybody here have what they thought is a failed launch? Hardly anyone showed up, or you didn't sell what you thought you were going to sell? Okay, I can only see a handful of you, but some of you say yes. Guess what? Who cares? Who cares? Do you know I didn't even know enough people to have a launch, and 5 years later I was the #1 manager in all of the nation of Tupperware? So what? I didn't have a launch party. I didn't have a great one. Did it mean it it means that I'm not going to be successful. If I open a restaurant tomorrow and I only have 20 people come to my grand opening, but those 20 people, instead of 1,000, feel like the king and queen, what are they going to do? They're going to go tell other people, right? Maybe the next night I have a few more, and they're going to go tell other people. If I had 1,000, sometimes I might not be able to give the service that I want to give. So it's fun and it's great, but don't ever let one party or two parties or three parties affect the way you look at your future. I shared this with some of our gals last night on our coaching call. And if you're not doing your 21 days to success, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know how many gentlemen, so I'll just say ladies, you're really setting yourself up to not have the full level of success that you can have. There's a gal by the name of Robin Edwards who came to my Promote with Passion last series. And when Robin came to her very first week, it was October 16th is when it started. For the rest of the year, so October, November, December, Robin had one party and one vendor event. All she had on her calendar for the rest of the year. So Robin's joined one of our coaching groups. Robin took the 21 days to success very seriously. Now, Robin didn't go her first 21 days and have full, she missed and started over, But she finally started just sticking to it. I kept saying, Robin, don't give up. You're doing so good. She had zero success for 15 straight days, which we would call success. No parties, no recruits, no events, nothing. How many of you don't want to give up, if we're really honest? Thinking, that Lori is not telling the truth. From between day 16 and day 21, Robin booked 5 parties, 2 vendor events, and a fundraiser. What would have happened if she'd have quit on day 15? Isn't that amazing? You don't know. The minute you stop is usually the minute your success is the next day. Don't give it up. That's working smarter, not harder. You started something, don't quit. And I loved it because Robin said, I'm going to take a couple of days off. She goes, but then I'm going to start another 21 days. So do you think that when Robin tells her new chocolatiers about 21 days to success and tells them that story, how effective that's going to be and how many are going to follow in her footsteps? So that's why I ask you guys to do 21 days to success, not because it's in this silly book, not because Lori thinks I just want to tell you to do something painful and horrible and, whatever, because it works. That's why I want you to do it. Carlene, what's Carlene's last name? It's going out the side of my head. Anyway, she lives in PA. I went through the same thing with her a couple of years ago. And she was only on day 7. And she was just like, I'm freaking done. I have called. I'm sick of this. I'm frustrated. I've got a great job. I don't even know why I'm putting this. It's just I want to be successful. And she wanted to go to Costa Rica. And by the way, she did earn it for 2. And I said, okay, just do me a favor. Let's talk next Tuesday. I want you to do just 7 more days. Just do it 7 more days. On day 9, she booked 2 parties and recruited someone. Day 7, she was never doing it again. I said, just don't quit yet. None of us know when that success is coming. After we follow up, we have to do those recruit leads. We have to follow up. We have to do customer service. And then we spend time updating our leader. Talking does us no good. I was pretty firm last night. Sometimes I get that way on calls. And I said to the ladies that were on the call, if you come to these trainings, but you don't put to work what you're learning, you're wasting your time. Knowledge is nothing without feet on it. I had a gal that used to come. Her name was Ann, and I won't tell you her last name. My luck, she's probably someone's cousin or something on this call. But I won't tell you her last name. But poor old Ann, she came to every flipping training I did. I had never had a more trained person in my entire life. But Ann never put it to work. So Ann never had success. Now, maybe Ann just liked hanging out. I don't know, but I don't think I'm that interesting. And I could have found way better things to do. Me, I could have gone to garage sales. I used to do this on Saturday morning. I could have gone to garage sales. I could have gone to thrift stores. I could have decorated my house, cut my yard, plant flowers. Way more exciting things to listen to me talk about the same thing over and over and over again. Knowledge without feet mean nothing. Again, if you want to write something down, knowledge without feet mean nothing. Put feet to what you're learning. And, again, I think you remember at the very first, I'm going to go back to my first page of notes here. I don't know if you know what? I think I said this in your second call because Cindy did your first call. I asked you a couple questions. And for one thing I asked you is I said, I need you to trust me. Do y'all remember me saying that? I'll never ask you to do anything that won't make you successful. If it isn't got proven facts, I'm not going to suggest you do it. I also don't want you to do anything you don't believe works because you're wasting your time. I don't care if it's worked for 100 people. If you can't get it right up here, and for those of you that can't see me, I'm pointing to my head, don't do it. Because even if it's the perfect way to do something, if you don't believe it up here, it's not going to work for you. But you've got to trust that I'd be shooting myself in the foot if I asked you to do things that I knew would not make you successful. So I'm sitting here and I'm looking at Sherry and I go, I'm going to tell Sherry to go do blah, 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 because I just know she's going to fail. No, that's never going to happen. It's like, I like my job. I want to keep it. I'm not here to sabotage myself. So I want you to believe that. You've got to believe I'd never ask you to do anything to harm your business. I also, if you remember, I said we were going to be the power of 3. That's working smarter, not harder. 3 parties a week, 3 recruits a month, 3 calls a day, 3 Coco chats a week, 3 leaders a quarter, 3 managers a year. Remember, we talked about that, the power of 3. If you follow just that, you'll be making probably 6 figures in 2 to 3 years. 2 to 3 years. You're promoting out 3 managers a year. You're re-promoting yourself to director every year. It's going to be crazy. You're going to go, wow. Do you know that one of our managers in this region, last month, she has a full-time job. She makes about $70,000 a year. She does Dove part-time, but she's been doing it a while. Do you know that last month her paycheck was $7,000 from Dove for the month? And she had a record-breaking month this month, so it's going to be more. That's her part-time job. Her part-time job paycheck is bigger than her full-time job that she puts about 60 hours a week into. And she's a director at her job. That's amazing, isn't it? And you know what? It's not because she held 37 parties or anything like that in 1 month. It's because she's consistently learned the power of 3. Back to working smarter, not harder. Another question I asked you was, the first week that we had our classes, what would get you out of your comfort zone? What would make you do something, or what's something you want bad enough that you'll get out of your comfort zone to do it? So I'm going to go back to when I was 40 years old. That was 11 years ago. And actually, I was 38. I was getting ready for my 20-year class reunion. I didn't go to my 10. I'm the girl that got married at 18, had my first baby at 20, my second at 22, my third at 24. So I was going back to see all these people. And my oldest was almost the age I was the last time I saw them. And I wanted to look awesome. And I did things that I wouldn't normally do. I made changes in my life that I wouldn't normally do. I got up at 5 o'clock and went to the gym. I don't do that right now. I need to. But that was really important to me. It got me out of my comfort zone. I limited what I ate and drank. I went back to the gym on nights I didn't have parties. I went to the gym twice a day. I never felt better. And I look back, and that was something I did because I wanted something so bad. The first year that, the first the year I decided I wanted to be #1 in the nation at Tupperware, I set my goal. I called our regional. I said, I want to know what the biggest number is that anyone's ever done. Ever. Not last year, not the year before, ever. And I'm going to make that my goal. Because I knew if I made that number, it may not make me #1, but I know, man, I did a damn good job. Excuse my language, but I did. Right? And I just had to get after it. There were many, many, many nights that I probably didn't want to go to hold a party, but my goal was bigger than my desire to stay home. And it got me out of bed. It got me up in the morning. It got me doing everything to make that. And I just stayed focused on it. Well, let me tell you, you know what the payoff was that year? That year of every year since before me and after me was the year they gave away the biggest prizes. I got a car for being #1, a freaking car, a $20,000 vehicle, and I already had a free van. I sold it and made $17,000 on it. I put 200 miles on it and sold it. 2 nights later, I was #1 in another category. Got a $10,000 check. Like, you know, kind of like The Price is Right, but then they gave me a real one. They actually put $10,000 cash in my hand, and I asked if I could keep both. They said no. But they did say, this is probably why you're #1. You asked for what you want. I was like, well, yeah. Was it worth me getting out of my comfort zone? Absolutely. Did I know I was going to get that? No way. In fact, they did this little thing where they talked about, they said, you know, they had these like cute little words, Laura, you've been cruising down the path to success. And my eyes light up in the video because I thought I was getting a cruise and I'd never been on a cruise. And then they said something about, all I wanted was a diamond tennis bracelet. That's what I wanted. I was hoping they were giving was a diamond tennis bracelet. Like a $1,000 diamond tennis bracelet, not a $20,000 car. And then they said something else, and I thought it was something else, and my eyes lit up again. And they said, we certainly don't want to wheel you off the stage. And it was just like The Price is Right. There was fireworks and smoke, and they drove this car out on the stage. It was amazing. I didn't do it for that, though. I did it because I wanted it. I got out of my own way. That's working smarter, not harder. What did I do? I recruited, I promoted, I developed. I recruited, I went to every party with who am I going to meet tonight that's going to be my next recruit. What 3 people here have the best business characteristics? How many of you have heard me say that before? So I walked into every single party. I had this little mantra. I go to my parties. This is what I did. Y'all are going to laugh. I'm not through till I book 2. If I want more, I'm going to book 4. But who are the 3 people I'm going to work with? If I want more, I'm going to book. If I want, I'm not through till I book 2. And I would say this on my way to my party. And that's what I went. I never said you're going to have a $1,000 party, Laurie. I never said you're going to have a $500 party. I said you're not through till you booked people. You're not through until you pick those people out. And how many people here can you show how much fun this is? I did not. Let me just be really clear. It was not my skills that made me #1. It was my team. And there's not one thing I did original. Not one. Not one. I stole everything I did from somebody else that was willing to share. If someone said, do this, Laurie, it'll make you successful. I'm telling you, if my coach would have said to me, Laurie, stand on your head for 30 minutes every day and sing the ABCs backwards, and you'll be the #1, I would have stood on my head and sang the ABCs backwards every single day. Because remember, you got to trust them. That's working smarter, not harder. So can any of you think right now, and if you can, will you write down one way that right now you can, that's something you've learned in the past 3 weeks or since you've been with Dove that you can do to work smarter, not harder? I'll give you about 20 seconds. It shouldn't take long. Okay, if we have time at the end, I'm going to ask if some of you would like to share. That'd be awesome. All right, think about your day. You really want to, so there's 2 months left before our Maui trip wraps up. How many of you that haven't earned Maui or haven't earned it for 2 yet, still have a goal to either earn it for yourself or earn it for two. Anybody out there still want to do that? How many of you want to make more money?
I do.
Good. How many of you believe it's still possible? All right.
I do.
All right, so your day, if you really want it, so let me just tell you something. If you sold insurance or pharmaceutical or blah, 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 and they were giving away a trip to Maui, do you know you would have to be the person that probably worked 80 hours a week to get it? Not a couple of parties here and there. Because they only take the very tops of the tops of the tops of the top. It's no point system. It's only those that go so far over and above their regular job requirements that get to go. You get to go just because you did enough to go. Plus you get paid. So what are you willing to do different? If you really want to go to Maui, then you'll make 3 contacts a day. And let me just tell you, if you want me to be really blunt with you and you don't, I'm going to go, well, then you must not have wanted to go to Maui that day. And guess what? That's okay, too. There may be a life situation that trumps Maui. Maybe your daughter's getting married. And you say, you know what? My daughter's wedding trumps Maui. Heck yeah, it does. Hopefully that's only going to happen once in her life, right? There'll be another trip. Maybe you have a child that has an illness that needs your attention more than you going to Maui. Guess what? That's okay. Maybe this just isn't the right time in your life. That's okay. But if you really, 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 really want it, okay? Just like I really, 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 really wanted to be #1 in the nation, you'll find a way to do 21 days to success. And when you're done with 21, you'll do another 21. And guess what? If you really commit to it, you'll do it. And guess what? At the end of 3 calls, if that's not enough, you'll go, I'm going to do 3 more today because I really want to go to Maui. When I ask people, I remember there was a gal that I worked with, and every year I used to do goal setting sessions in December with my managers. And I had a little form that they filled out, and we broke it down by parties, and we did all this little stuff. And by the way, I don't do that anymore because I decided that too many people get caught up in plan instead of the action. Oh, I did my 4. Well, maybe 4 wasn't enough. Just because your plan said it was, if it didn't get you to where you needed to be, you need to do 4 more, not get comfortable. But anyway, every year this gal would come to me, and she'd say, I want to be a VIP manager. And we'd create a plan, and every year she wouldn't make it. She was a good manager. She just wouldn't make that title. So one year she came to me, and I said, what do you want to do this year? And guess what she said? I want to be a VIP manager. And I looked at her, and her name was Rachel. And I said, Rachel, you do not. And she looked at me, and I said, you don't. And she said, why do you say that? I said, because this is the 4th year that you said to me you want to be a VIP manager. And if you really wanted to be a VIP manager, you'd be a VIP manager. Then you know exactly what it takes. All you got to do is do it. So, unfortunately, some tears came, and I said, what do you really, really, really want? They were really struggling financially. She was, well, first off, I need my own computer. She was going to the library to enter her orders. Now, this is back in the day when computers were really expensive. This was probably, 15 years ago or more, maybe 20. And, okay, well, how much is that going to cost you? Let me just tell you, they lost their home. They were a family of 5 living in a hotel. Not an apartment, a hotel, one of those rent by the week or by the month kind of extended stay. She goes, I want to be in a house or an apartment. I want my own place. All right, what do you need to do that? We figured it out. Is there anything else? This gal would not give up. Through all of that, her kids still went to private school. That was really important to her. She says, I don't want my kids to ever have to leave private school. Okay, what do you need to do to make that happen? So we sat down and we figured out how she could have all of that. And guess what? The 9th month of the year, Rachel was a VIP manager. Because it wasn't being a VIP manager that drove her. It was that either she had to figure out she knew in her head that if she could get there, it would probably take care of all of that. But she had to figure out what really was going to get her out of bed in the morning. And having a computer and having a home and keeping their kids in private school was what got her out of bed in the morning. And then the trophy was she became a VIP manager, even faster than she wanted. So how bad do you want Maui? How hard do you want it? So when you look at that, how are you going to work smarter, not harder? You've got to make this a priority. Maui has to become a priority in your day. If you work full time, you have to say, okay, 3 days a week, I'm going to give up my lunch hour and go sit in my car and work on Maui. I'm going to get up 30 minutes earlier than I normally do to prepare my host packet. I'm going to give up watching The Voice because it's my favorite TV show so that I can hold a party those nights. I'm going to tell people my goal and say, I need your help. You're going to ask people that are on your chicken list. You're going to do your list of 10, and when you talk to me about it, it's not going to be, I can't think of anyone. It's going to be, I have too many people on here because I want everybody. You're going to get out of your own way, but it's got to be a priority. I always tell people, you can do something for 2 months you don't want to do for a lifetime. And none of you on this call have 0 points, but if you had 0 points right now, you could still earn Maui if you really wanted to. So use that. And if you need my help in figuring out what's holding you back, you might even have some time. Either join one of the coaching calls or give me a call. Y'all have my phone number, 817-217-7103. If you don't have it, write it down, 817-217-7103. Call your upline leader, your manager. Call me. You've got to figure out what's in your way. You've got to follow up. When you go to a party, it's not there weren't 3 people there interested. It was there were 3 people there, and I found a reason why I think they'd be good. Only excuse you have for not picking out 3 people at every party is there's not 3 people there. That's the only excuse. You've got to find the best in the people that you've got in front of you. They may not be the best, but they're what you have in front of you. They're best that you have at that moment. So look at them. Find the best quality you can. I don't care if they have no teeth and their pants have holes in them and they're not wearing a bra and their hair is greasy and they don't have a car, blah, 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 blah. They're the best you have right then. That person might need to get some teeth, get a bra, and get a car. So you can be their answer. But you know what? That might be the nicest person ever. And no one else has ever given them the opportunity. How many of y'all saw the movie The Pursuit of Happiness with Will Smith? I show you my age. It's pretty old. Where he's homeless and he goes to work for a big investment firm, but he has to work for free for months and months and months. Go watch it. I'm going to challenge you to find 2 hours in your week and watch The Pursuit of Happiness and dare to tell me you can't earn Maui. Or you can't be a leader, or you can't make your goal. Whatever it is you want, you really want something. That movie is so inspiring. I'd forgotten about it, and Mitch and I, when he was right before his surgery, and he was in so much pain one night, we woke up and it was on, and I got so excited watching it. I talked to my last Promote with Passion class about it. I'm like, go watch this movie. The man slept in subways with his child. He figured out, get this, y'all ready for this? He figured out if he didn't drink water, he wouldn't have to pee. And that would save him like 2 minutes and 40 seconds a day where he could make 3 additional calls. I mean, wow. When I tell you guys to write stuff down, that's the reason why. He knew his law of averages because he had to leave at 4 and everyone else didn't leave till 6 because he was a single dad and had to pick up his kid from daycare and get in line so they could live in the shelter. Because if they didn't get in the line early enough, they wouldn't have a place to sleep. I'm looking at the ones of you I can see right now. It looks like you all have a great place to sleep tonight. It might not be your castle. It might not be your dream home, but chances are you got heat. You got 4 walls. You got windows. It's so inspiring. Okay, I'll get off my soapbox. All right, but all that's about working smarter, not harder. Make a plan. All right, so have I shared with you guys about the Post-it notes? Okay. For those of you who don't know, I went through business coaching and got certified as a business coach, and one of the classes that I took was on time management. And I've always been a list maker. I am the queen of the yellow legal pad. That's what I use. And every day I make a list like, this kind of legal pad. So I start a list and I scratch off and, I add to my list. And has anybody ever done this? After you've done something, you add it to your list and scratch it off because it makes you feel more accomplished. So I'd make my list, but I found that after it got kind of cluttery, I would spend time remaking my list just to make it look nice. Anybody else done that too? That's a time waster. But anyway, my lists work really well for me. And I put everything on my list. Personal, business, didn't matter. Everything goes on one list. Well, I got this really great tip. And this is how I make my plan now. I am clinically ADD. I'll admit it. I take medication. I have to. I'm very ADD. My mind does this. I'm, like squirrel 17, 38, 1, popsicle. That's how my mind works. It's just kind of all over. And so a lot of times when I'm at my desk, things just come in my head. And if I'm really bad about wanting to stop and do it right then. So if anybody else on the phone's like me, one of the best tips I got was the Post-it note time management. So I am so all over the board that I have like lots of Post-it notes. I'm in fear of running out. So every time I think of something I need to do, I write it on a Post-it note. But this says, Promote with Passion January. So my head went there today. I'm already thinking about when am I going to do my classes in January. So I wrote PWP January. I want to get to know 10 new future leaders this month. So this says 10 get to know you future leader calls. I am doing coaching for my leaders and above. I've offered. It says get out the coaching schedule. I have a new gal named Phoenix Sagan I need to call. That's right here. So what I do is on a wall or wherever works for you, I have French doors in my office. I put these up here and I kind of have like my most urgent, kind of like my have to, want to, need to, or have to, need to, want to. I put these up there. And I get great satisfaction of doing this and throwing it away. And I don't ever have to remake a list. And I like to keep things interesting, so I have all kinds of colors and sizes and whatever works for you. Now, it's not to say I don't ever make a list, but sometimes we have to find a way of how are we going to be best suited. Is anybody here like me that cleaning your house gives you great satisfaction, like you love a clean house? You don't necessarily love cleaning?
I love a mowed lawn. I love it after I finish mowing the lawn, just to sit down and watch it and clean the house. It's awesome.
Yeah, because it's instant gratification, right, Roxanne? Don't you think that's a lot of what it is? Instant gratification.
Oh, absolutely. I like to be able to do stuff and watch it after it's done and say I did that. It's awesome.
Absolutely. And there's also no what's my word? Gosh, my word just went out the side of my head. So I've been at the hospital. I've been at the doctor with Mitch all day. There's no no one tells you no. I can't think of my word right now. It's not coming out of my mouth. Nobody turns you down. Like you make a phone call and it's like, they said no. When you do that, there's no one that it's always gratifying.
Right. Nobody stands in the way.
Right. So honestly, I can be sitting in my office and think, I really need to go do X. Right? That's not going to grow my business. It's not going to get my goals, and it's not going to keep me employed. Remember, I work at home. And there's always laundry that can be done. There's always a baseboard that, I mean, I have been known to stop doing something very productive in my office because I had to go clean the baseboard. Because right then maybe I'm not feeling, or maybe in our business I'll bring it down to my brand new level as a chocolatier. I'd sit in my office and I would make flyers and I had my stack of Hostess catalogs, and there's no rejection. That's the word I was looking for. There's no rejection. And I go, oh man, I worked a lot today. I've got all this prepared. That did not get me any further in my business. The only thing that gets us further, and by the way, this will never end, is talking to people. Why am I talking to you? That's what gets us further in our business. Why did I talk to Angie today? Why did I talk to Donna Fleetwood today? Why did I talk to, who else did I talk to? Bridget Klinger, Delana Wood. Why? Because that's what grows our business is people, not paper. Now, paper has to be done. We do it in non-productive hours, and we need to learn to reward ourselves. So as silly as this may sound, Roxanne, I used to reward myself by saying, once you've made your 2 hours of calls or once you've knocked out all your people, you can go clean your house. That was honestly like my reward because I love the satisfaction. But if I cleaned my house first, I would clean it till I ran out of time to, and a lot of times it was subconscious. I didn't realize I was avoiding doing what might cause rejection.
You don't know how much sense that makes to me.
I see Sherry is shaking her head. It's about to fall off her neck. And Lori, I can tell Lori's resonating as well over there. So, do things and reward yourself with things that are no rejection. Also working smarter, not harder. It is a proven scientific fact. A made bed and a clean kitchen makes your house look cleaner. Your house, my husband just said, amen. I heard him from the other room with the doors closed. Whoever gets out of our bed last makes it. It's just kind of the rule. I never fear you coming to my house and finding the bed not made. Never. It will be made every day. Dishes in the sink, I still struggle with late at night if we eat late. But first thing I do in the morning then is I do the dishes. I can't stand dishes in the sink. You can have a perfectly clean kitchen, but if your sink's full of dishes, it's going to look messy. You can have not a perfectly clean kitchen, but there's no dishes in the sink. It looks pretty darn clean, right? Same thing with your bedroom. You have a perfectly clean bedroom, but if the bed's not made, it looks a mess. But if the bed's made, it automatically makes your room look better. Work smarter, not harder, and reward yourself with the things that give you instant gratification. So we're going to know that Roxanne cannot mow her yard until she makes her phone calls. I'm going to tell on you, Roxanne. I'm going to say, Angie, drop by Roxanne's house, and if her lawn's mowed, you better make sure her calls are done. Make sure you block and firm commitments. If you do something weekly, put it on your calendar and don't let things interfere if it's important to you. You'll start to resent the business. List your objectives. Again, I was the queen of the yellow legal pad. So I want each of you to write this down and fill in the blank. And this has to do with business, okay? It doesn't, not personal. You could do this for many areas of your life. If it's my intention to blank, where is my daily attention? So I will fill in for you what mine has been all year. It hasn't changed, and we've done a really great job of doing it. And mine is if it's my intention to have the fastest growing region in the nation, where is my daily attention? And that's where my whiteboard comes in, with always looking for future leaders. Sending cards, calling, doing promote with passion. Do you know that you guys, my new and future leaders, are bigger priority to me than my already leaders and managers? Because without you, that's like no party equals no business. No future leaders equals no job. I mean, there's no reason to have me if we're not constantly creating new. So how would you fill in it could be if it's my intention to earn Maui, if it's my intention to make $500 to pay my car payment, if it's my intention to be #1 in personal sales, if it's my intention to quit my full-time job, what is your immediate intention for your business? Why do you do this? What do you want from it? What's something tangible you can touch or feel or measure? I can't touch or feel the fastest growing region in the nation, but we are and have been all since about May. But it's because in January, I set that. That's my intention, to be the fastest growing. And that fastest growing not only went from growth, but it also went to volume. Went from not just being the fastest growing, it went to the biggest volume in that country. And that wasn't even my intention, but it was a result of. So what would yours be? And then once you figure it out, what do you need to do? Where does your attention need to be? Does it need to be on recruiting more people? Does it need to be on booking more parties because you need more parties to recruit more people? Does it need to be on promoting more leaders out of your group? Does it need to be on more solid host coaching because you need more people to be able to meet, to be able to recruit, to be able to book? Where in the short term is your most important thing? If you put host coaching, that's fine, but you have to have parties to host coach, right? You can't have an intention to host coach if you don't have lots of parties. And I'd love for you, one of your homework assignments is to share that with me. Send me your statement. If it's my intention to, where is my daily attention? And answer that question. And from that, that'll help you create a very solid daily plan so that you know what you're doing and you know you're working smarter, not harder. Then have a weekly plan and a monthly plan. Know where you want to be. Break it down. Watch it. We talked about goals, but goals, as Zig Ziglar always says, are a dream with a deadline. But goals have to have a plan. I'm a girl that I need very structured plans. When I got in my best shape and I lost my weight and I wanted to go to my 20-year class reunion, not only did I go to the gym, I joined Weight Watchers. The reason, I need to probably join again, but the reason I did Weight Watchers is because they said, you can have 21 points a day or whatever. And I'm a bit of a rule follower. I'm a great rule follower when I really want something. And so by golly, only had 21 points a day. And a lot of days I had a lot less because I thought if I eat less, I'll even do better. Not way less, but that's how bad I wanted it. And I saw it like a bank that I took money out of. And once the money was gone, I couldn't spend anymore. There were no credit cards at Weight Watchers for points. This is back. They've changed it a million times since then. But back then, there wasn't a bank that you put them in. And that really, really worked for me because I had a very structured plan. Know yourself. What kind of structure do you need? If you need help with that, ask. That's, again, what I'm here for, your upline, your leader, your manager. That's what we're here for, to support you. And then make sure that you set a deadline. You create a reward if there's not a built-in one already. Visualize how you're going to celebrate. I wrote my #1 speech 3 weeks after I decided I wanted to be #1, and it was a 6-month period. But I wrote my #1 speech because I did like a speech, like you gave like a training talk, whoever was #1. And I remember my coach telling my regional, hey, if Lori's not #1, she's got a really good training written if you want to use it. Because that's how I visualized it. I wrote it, I read it, I saw it, I picked my dress out, I saw myself visualize it. That, believe it or not, this is all about working smarter, not harder. And then on page 43, because we're out of time, I'll let you read them yourself. There's some great 20 tips for making more effective use of your time. 2 quick tips I'm going to share because I always get great feedback on these. One is if you have a large family. There were 5 of us, 3 children, my husband and I. Laundry was a big issue for me. There was a lot of it. My kids were in sports. That meant there were 2 to 3 outfits a day, a lot of days. The best tip I was ever given, because the more time I spent on laundry, the less time I had to spend on my business, was I got rid of every hamper in every bedroom, and I only had laundry baskets in the laundry room. We were just talking about this on Thanksgiving Day because all of my kids know how to do laundry. And they were labeled whites, darks, towels, blue jeans, reds. And when they were really little, y'all can sound like a mommy dearest, but I literally colored on them. And when they took their clothes off, and I had very small laundry rooms. Like I had them up on top of the laundry. I had them behind the door in a very small room. In fact, a lot of times it was more like a closet. Every time even if they were too young to do it, when they got out of the bath or were going in the bath, I took the laundry and it was always sorted. Because what takes time with laundry? Sorting. You go to do one load. In my case, at one point, my nephew was here too, living with us. So I had 5 laundry baskets to sort for one load. And then you put it all back in, and the next time you sort 5 laundry baskets. So mine was all stayed pre-sorted. As I got older, I wrote how to wash and how to dry. So whoever walked in and it was full just dumped it, and no one really complained, because how hard is it to dump a load of laundry and put the right amount of soap and bleach or fabric softener? Then you went back in, you threw it in the dryer. And then what we did was every house except for one I've ever lived in since I've been an adult, my laundry room just for some reason has been off my kitchen. I don't know why, but every house except for one. And so I take the laundry out and I would drape it over their chair that they sat at the table. And you couldn't come to dinner till your laundry was put away. That worked for me. Now, I'm not fussy. If they wanted to cram their shirts in a drawer or cram their underwear, I don't care. I'm not folding it. They could put a hanger through it. A little 3-year-old can take a little plastic hanger and stick it through a shirt if they want to, and you can lower the bars. I know that sounds crazy, but you know what? It teaches independence, and it also teaches responsibility. And boy, did it save me a ton of stinking time. So even if you don't do it to the extreme, that pre-sorting work. The other thing was, do any of you have young little children, or do you keep grandchildren or anything like that? The best thing I ever had was the telephone toy box. I had a box that they could see at all time. It had their favorite toys in it on top of the refrigerator. And when I needed 30 minutes on the phone, they got to pick a toy out of that box, and that's the only time they got to play with it. I hated Play-Doh. Play-Doh was in the telephone toy box, because they knew if they gave me 30 minutes of quiet and played quietly, they could play with Play-Doh. Otherwise, it was taken up not to be played with again. I had their favorite videos. And it really, really works. Let me tell you, that was probably when the smartest, and again, neither of these are original. Those were 2 things that were shared with me, and I just happened to do them. But I worked full-time, stay-at-home mom. My kids never went to daycare, and I ran a very, very, very large business. And so I worked around them. They knew every Wednesday morning I didn't answer my phone. We went to the park. If it was too cold, we stayed inside. We played games. Because those of us that stay at home with our children doesn't mean we always spend time with our children. I learned I was really guilty of that early on. I was in their presence, but not necessarily with them. In fact, I was jealous because I felt like a lot of times my working friends actually spent more time. Because I worked from home and I felt like I was always working. So I learned to schedule time with them. And I really encourage you to do the same. So we are out of time. Does anyone real quickly want to share any learning from today? I do want you to send me if it's my intention, where is my daily attention statement, and anything else that you really got out tonight. But it'd be really nice to hear from some of you real quick, if maybe a couple of you'd like to share your biggest learning.
Lori, I like the idea of creating your reward of mowing the grass after getting my have-tos done to do something that I want to. That's a great incentive.
Good. And it's so silly, isn't it, Roxanne, that mowing the grass is our one to, but I totally get it.
Yeah, I got the ADD and all those nerves and maybe some extra ones. I don't know.
I hear ya. Thank you. Anybody else? It's you know, it's that silly as it sounds. I believe that'll be a great learning for you.
Laura, I love your Post-it idea.
Oh, good. Try it and let me know if it
will.
works for you.
I will.
I get great satisfaction of wadding it up and throwing it away.
I can understand that.
All right. Who else? Time for one more. All right. So I look forward to talking to many of you on Monday. I look forward to receiving emails, and I look forward to phone calls from any of you that really do want to get help in a certain area or reach out to your upline leader or manager. That's what we're here for. And you guys have a great evening, okay? And here's to an awesome December. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Thank you.
Good night, everybody.
Thank you. Good night.
Night.
Good night.